Hello, welcome to this episode of 49 Faithfully. I'm your host, Miriah, and tonight I'm joined by my co-host, Teran. What's up? How you doing?
I'm doing good. What's up, Niner fam? I'm glad you guys tuning in today.
Hope everyone out there is great. So we kind of took a little bye week, as well as the 49ers did. So I guess I don't really have much to say about our last game. I'm kind of, I don't know. If you want to touch on it, we can touch on it a little bit, but
No, I don't think so. I mean, yeah, I'm with you. I don't think we need to touch on it either. Just I'm over it, especially because our favorite quarterback got hurt, so that kind of bummed me out. And then it's been talked about since the bye week, but I just hope that going into next week we have way better play calling because that play calling was horrendous.
What do you think about that? Our favorite quarterback getting hurt. Do you think he's hurt? What do you think about this whole thing that's going on?
What's hard to say. I don't believe anything our 49er upper management says anymore. I was listening to the press conference from Jimmy, and this is just mind blowing to me. So you have two quarterbacks who are supposedly hurt, injury in the same area. One's a left knee, one's a left calf, and then they asked Jimmy like, "Oh, did you and Trey work out together, this and that?" And Jimmy said, "No, we didn't even cross paths." That's pretty mind blowing to me. How you play the same position, like were you guys not rehabbing together? Were you guys not going over playbooks with Kyle together? Like that doesn't make sense to me. It seems like either Trey was avoiding him or Jimmy was avoiding him, which I feel like it was probably Jimmy because I feel like he's probably sour of everything that's going on. So that's just weird to me that he even said that in his press conference. So is he hurt? I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know, Mariah. It's hard to say. Like I said, I don't believe anything John Lynch or Kyle really says any right now at the moment, and it's hurtful to say that honestly. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I agree. That was really weird when he said that, and I was kind of caught off guard, especially because we went into this bye with them telling us, "Oh, well, at least the quarterbacks will be, here together, doing, being in rehab or whatever together." So you thought prior, going into the bye, okay, so they're there, they're going to be there together, and they're going to be
yeah,
spending time together, getting treatment together, going over plays together. And that's one of the things I wanted to talk to you about as well is, people were talking about how last week when Trey would come out of the game that you never saw Jimmy like pull him aside and say anything to him.
yeah,
Like you're not trying to help him or hey, this is what I saw or nothing. And then that brings us back to the first week that Trey scored a touchdown and in Jimmy's, presser, he said something in the words of like, well, it was kind of weird or hard to congratulate him. So it's like prior to the season starting, again, you're trying to sell us that Jimmy's, helping Trey and he's such a good guy and all blah 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 because he was being so nice to Trey and all this, but is he really?
yeah, yeah. That's mind blown. I don't know. I don't know what to take with that. And I get everybody's different. Like I don't expect. I mean, well, I guess I kind of do expect. I do expect Jimmy to still be professional and say, "Hey, look, this is what you did wrong. This is what you can do to get better." Because if you look at the Aaron Rodgers Favre situation, Aaron Rodgers said that Favre didn't coach him at all.
Yeah.
Because he was bitter. But then you look at the Alex Smith, Patrick Mahomes situation. Patrick Mahomes, he praises Alex Smith. Oh, Alex Smith was there for me. He helped me work through some stuff. He helped me go through the playbook, this, and that. So I get everybody is different. But at the same time, I expect better from Jimmy because, Favre has always been known as kind of like of a jerk. You know
Right,
what I
and
mean?
everybody wants to keep comparing this to the Alex Smith
Yeah.
Mahomes situation, and that goes to show you this is far from the Alex Smith and Mahomes
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah, for sure. But Jimmy was always known as like a nice guy, a great teammate, and then all of a sudden, it's like I said, he makes these small digs where you can tell it's bothering him, which I get it. But at the same time, I feel like it depends on what kind of cloth you're cut from.
Yeah,
Because me, competition brings the best out of me. And
yeah,
some people just ain't built that way. Some people, maybe Jimmy's just bitter and he just like this dude's coming to take my job. Well, then play better.
Yeah.
And if you know that this is your last year, bank on yourself. I'm gonna go out here. I'm gonna ball. I'm gonna make the 49ers have a hard decision at the end of the year of do they want to keep me around for another year or do they want to trade me? And if they do trade me, I'm getting a first or second round pick or whatever the case may be. But don't sit around and pout about it. And regardless, it's like, your character means more than anything. So if you're the guy who's always known as a great teammate and there for everybody, be who you are. Don't all of a sudden change and be like, well, this guy's here, so I'm not going to do this, that, and the other. It's just, I don't know. Yeah, so I get it. I mean, like I said, it's just, I mean, I guess you can look at it from both sides, but I don't know. I'm just glad that Trey, has like great parents and a great
Right.
supporting family around him. So it's not like one of those people who are like, I mean, I'm not saying that there's still no support, but most people who are raised from like a single mom or single dad don't have that kind of family support as somebody who has their mom and dad in the same household. You know what I'm saying? So he gets that extra support where he comes from a loving family and his dad is there to cheer him on because it's like I think I mentioned this before. His dad played a year in the NFL and then played in the CFL, so his dad
Yeah.
knows what it takes to be successful. So
Right. And like you said about Jimmy, like playing, better or whatever. And, that's what everybody was saying prior to the season as well. Jimmy's going to ball out. He's going to have a fire lit under him. He's going to, I don't see it. I, and you would
yeah.
think if they went and got a first round pick, that's a quarterback to take your spot because you're always injured, that you would do your everything. Like I would be taking my butt out onto the field injured playing if my
Hmm.
replacement's behind me because I'm always injured.
Hmm.
Yet
Yeah.
you got injured again, and
Well, yeah, like I said, it's one of those things too where it's like whatever you did in the off season to prepare yourself for the season, when somebody is brought in the building to replace you, give 10 to 15% more than what you usually give.
right,
Okay, I usually get up and I run a mile and a half a day. You know what? Now I'm running 2 miles because I need to get my wind up. I'm gonna do a extra set of bench press, whatever the case may be. But you give yourself more. I'm gonna throw an extra 100 balls today in practice to get my accuracy up. Whatever the case is, to get yourself better. So yeah, I mean, it's like you said, always going to light a fire under Jimmy. I haven't seen that at all. I'm seeing the same Jimmy I saw beginning of 2020 before he got hurt.
right. What's that, Breezy? Um, yeah, I don't know. Breezy just made me lose my train of thought. But oh, yeah, that's something that I never have seen at a Jimmy. Like, does he like? I've never got the feeling from him that he loves playing football. And that's one of the things like that I've never liked about him is because you don't see that. Like with Trey, you can tell he's a student of the game. He loves the football. He's going to get in there and he's going to give it everything that he has, every single play, and
Mhm.
carry that team on his back. I don't see that Jimmy does that.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Does
So
he even play through injury? Does he try? Like, so many players are, and I'm not saying, I'm not a football player. I'm not saying get out there and injure yourself more or whatever, but there's a lot of players that play through injury every single day in this game.
yeah, yeah,
Does he?
correct. I haven't seen it.
Because he's always out injured.
Yeah, I haven't seen that at all. And you're right too. And what makes me also feel that way, other than the injuries, you understand that like I played football, so I was a inside linebacker and a strong safety. So when I play and I sit there and I missed a tackle and somebody got a first down, I'm not smiling after I made a mistake.
Right.
I'm not sitting here like, oh, I missed a tackle. He got a first down on me, or he ran me over and got a touchdown. Let me smile. I'm pissed off. I'm like, what do I can do better? I know I need to take a better angle. Like I'm pissed because I
Yeah.
made a mistake. He'll throw a pick. Oh, he on the sideline smiling or whatever the case may be. So yeah, I kind of take that and I mean, obviously you and I could be wrong,
Right.
but from all looks from outside looking in, it doesn't look like he doesn't have the passion for football. I guess you can say he just out there doing it because he is pretty good at it. I'm not saying he sucks. He is pretty good at it. So it's like, oh, let me go out there and just play because I'm good at it. But I'm not. I don't have that that kind of fire and passion to continue to play. Or like I said, I don't know any football player who has passion. Anybody in the chat, you let me know if you've done it, if you played football. I have never made a mistake on the football field and smiled afterwards.
And I think that's with any sport, really. Anybody
Yeah.
that's ever played competitive anything, like I played soccer my whole life growing up, and if I was goalie, if I let a goal go through, I'm not smiling afterwards. That's for
Hmm.
sure. I know the whole team's mad, but I'm more mad than anybody else.
For sure.
So yeah, I don't know. I don't get that from Jimmy, and that's one of the things that I do really like about Trey, like I said.
Hmm.
But whether we think that he's hurt, whether we believe he's hurt or not, it looks like Jimmy's starting this week.
Hmm.
We don't even, I mean, Trey hasn't practiced yet, right?
No, he hasn't.
So,
And let me go back to what to say. And as a team, and I understand like you can't tell players what to do. They're grown men, but as a PR move, if he had a left calf strain or left knee strain, sorry, why would you even? I mean, like I said, he could have made his own decision, but why would you not sit there and say, "Hey, man, you going to the Giants game is not a good look." You're at the Giants game. You're in a baseball stadium where you have to climb up all these stairs, and so it's like and who knows? Like he could have been trampled.
right. With
Anything. I
Kittle,
mean,
that's on IR because he's hurt,
yeah, and you're not at a regular game. You're sitting there at a playoff game with the Dodgers, where it can get rowdy, and it's like, hey, you know what? I'd advise you not to go to this game. You might want to stay home and watch it on TV because you being there, one, if he is injured, you can re-injure it, and
Yeah.
two, it's a bad look because now everybody's questioning about that. Like, oh, was he really hurt? He's sitting there at, he's at a game. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
exactly what I thought when I saw them there for that game as well.
yeah.
But yeah, we don't know if Lance is even going to be active this week. I guess we'll find that out
Yeah,
tomorrow.
probably tomorrow. Yeah, I know. Well, if he hasn't played all week, I doubt it. It's probably going to be Jimmy and Sudfeld. They'll probably just have Trey sitting there on street clothes on the sideline. So
So, what do you think if we do end up losing this week?
if we do end up losing this week, I still believe that Jimmy will start against the Chicago Bears on Halloween. That's my opinion. I don't know if it's true, but I just have a strong feeling that's what's going to happen.
So, do you think there's going to be at a time? Okay, so what if we lose then these next 2 weeks?
If we
Like,
lose these,
when is enough enough?
enough was enough. Enough was enough. Week 2 against Philly.
Well, I know, but
um,
when is
enough.
enough for Kyle Shanahan?
Look, so we're 2-3. If we go 2-5, I don't know what else the brass thinks. I don't know what's going on, and we've talked about this, on spaces and stuff. So here's one of the issues I see. I think what was it? So we were talking about 2022. If Jimmy goes, I really think that D4 is going to be gone. And then we have a bunch of 1-year deals. Okay, so we're going to have a decent amount of money to spend in 2022, but not much draft capital.
Right.
So what they should do is, if we go 2-5, I would play every rookie in the building. I'm starting Jalen Moore at tackle. I'm starting Aaron Banks at guard. I'm starting Ambry Thomas. He can get some snaps because you have to see what you have on your roster before next year, because you don't have draft capital and you need to see what these guys can do just in case you need to spend some of that money to address the situation.
Right.
So if Aaron Banks ain't it, then I need to go look at a right guard. If Ambry Thomas or Diamador Lenore ain't it, okay, cool. I got some money. Let me go spend some money on a veteran corner because they're a year from being ready. I think you need to explore your options and see what you have, because I think I was listening to Nitty Gritty, I think the other day, when Peachy made an excellent point. Peachy said the 49ers are one of the few teams I see who are either scared to play their draft picks or don't have any trust in them, because I don't understand how, like, we draft these guys, especially high, and they don't get no burn. Like, you get no burn, and then, like we mentioned, like me and you were talking before the show started, how was Aaron Banks behind Tom Compton?
Yeah.
And I know we're going to talk about that later about holding accountability and stuff, but this is just one of those things. It's like you have a second round pick who can't beat out two guys who were undrafted. Well, I don't know about Compton, but he was a late round pick, and I don't think Brunskill was even drafted. Like he came
Right.
from didn't he come from like the CFL or something? Wasn't he playing like some other league at one point?
Nobody's
So,
ready. That's all I keep hearing.
well,
Nobody's ready.
and
Lance
here's
ain't ready.
yeah, because they're not ready. According to our upper management. But you know what? You don't know. We don't know that unless we see reps. You know, Aaron Banks looked dominant. And all of a sudden, he's a healthy scratch. Like he's not even. I just don't get it.
I think like if that's the case, if none of these rookies are ready, like we're the only team in the NFL that drafts an entire draft that's not ready. Like I've
Yeah,
never heard of such a thing in my life.
yeah,
Like how are none of these players ready?
yeah. So you got Elijah Moore, 6th round pick. You have uh, Talanoa Hufanga. You have Dialmor Lamore, all day 3 picks who have gotten pretty decent amount of snaps.
Right.
So you're telling me that the guys you drafted round 1, 2, and 3 and ready, but all day 3 picks who fail are already makes no sense to me. 1, 2, and 3 should be your contributors. 4, 5, and 6 should be the bonus ones. The ones who are like, okay, if there's an injury, we need this. I think first, second, and third round should always be your starters or people who can at least make immediate contributions, like at least, slot corner, wherever the case may be. But, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th round pick should be like, okay, you know what? Tart, he got injured. Let's throw in Hufanga. You
Right.
know, Trey Sermon got hurt. Okay, now we're throwing Elijah Mitchell, whatever the case may be. But, I don't know. So to answer
And
your
yeah, I
question,
mean,
yeah.
sorry, we may see
Mhm.
more this week because at left tackle, right?
Having problems with Trent Williams
Yeah,
being healthy. Yeah, I heard about that. So maybe he gets his burn, and we'll see what happens.
that
Yeah, I
would be
don't
the
know.
only plus
Yeah,
of the situation that we can at
yeah.
least see if he's anything.
I saw Breezy's comment that popped up, and I agree. As long as Jimmy's healthy, I think he will play every game. I don't care if we lose the next 3. If Jimmy's healthy, he's gonna play.
So let's just skip right over the first question. We'll come back to that one.
Okay.
Let's just get right into it. Who do we hold accountable for all this dysfunction or this bad start to the season, to our rookies not playing, to everything? Who's
Okay.
to blame for this?
So just like with any employee, when Jed York hired Lynch and Shanahan and Adam Peters and all them came in 2017, when they made mistakes, I can live with that. You're a new employee. I expect you to have some bumps and bruises. Kyle's a first-time head coach. John Lynch is a first-time general manager, which was a mistake in my opinion, even do. But at the same time, I blame the dysfunction and I put all accountability on Kyle and John. I can't even blame the players at this point because people say, well, Ambry Thomas, he should be better, this and that, which is true. But at the same time, who's developing these guys?
Yeah.
Why aren't these guys develop? At the same time, was Aaron Banks worth the 49th pick, or 48th, whatever he was? So
And back to this.
I can't blame like a Solomon Thomas for not living up to top 3 pick because he wasn't a top 3 pick. You guys
Right.
reached on him. I can't blame Javon Kinlaw for being hurt. You knew he had knee issues in South Carolina. You knew he had 10-9 as you drafted this guy, and then you're sitting here upset with yourself, like, oh, wait, couldn't this guy to get on the field? He can't even fly 3 or 4 hours without his knee swelling up. Can I blame that on Javon Kinlaw? No, I can't blame.
Right.
I can't blame it on players who were reached for, and so with this, and I get it. In the draft, people are going to hit and miss. I get that. One time you messed up, shame on you. You know what I mean? The second time, shame on me. Because the simple fact is, when you're drafting these guys, you have injury history. Jalen Hurd, blame him. People, he was at Tennessee. He got hurt multiple times at Tennessee as a running back. That's why he switched to wide receiver. I wanted to be a wide receiver because I'm getting injured so much. You knew he was injured, and you drafted him. Nobody's to blame on these injuries and how since some of these draft, I can't say all, some of these draft picks have failed because of management. I don't understand why you think, or you have this kind of assumption like, well, he was hurt in college, but maybe if I draft him, things will change. That's the most ridiculous thinking, in my opinion. So you have to be smart on your draft picks. And I think 49ers, I think upper management, I think they overthink these draft picks sometimes. Just take the best player available. There's no reason why you shouldn't have not drafted Asante Samuel. You knew you needed a corner. You drafted two corners, so you know you needed one. Why not take the best one sitting there? So
Yeah.
that's my issue with these guys, and not only with the draft, I blame it on free agent pickups. Kwan Williams, yeah, he's been great for us, but you didn't have a backup plan for him or Jason Verrett. When Kwan Williams with the Cleveland Browns, he was always injured. Matter of fact, we picked him up; he was coming off an ACL tear. Jason Verrett, he was hurt. Been playing 8 years. He's been playing 8 years? He's been healthy with 2.5 seasons, 3 seasons. So I
Yeah.
mean, you have to take accountability for management. John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan, and I don't really like the the John Lynch. He needs to go. He's a scapegoat because these two go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Because I'm sorry, people always say, "Well, John Lynch is in charge of the draft." I don't buy that because if I have the final say of a 53-man roster, there is no way I'm going to have any input on these draft picks. Oh, go ahead and pick whoever you want, but I get the final say in who you think is best for my team or whatever. That I'm gonna that doesn't make sense to me. So that's who I hold accountable. Yes, the players do have parts in it because they need to do better. This and that. At the same time, I can't even blame like Jimmy G right now. He is who he is, and we know that. So I can't be mad that he's not throwing outside the numbers. I can't be mad that he's not making plays because we've seen what he can do. So I can't be mad at him.
Right.
And then what I don't like, and I'll send this to you, is Kyle Shanahan and the way he manages his players. And we talked about this before, and I know every player is different, but I feel like he coddles some and he's hard on others. You got people like Brandon Ayuk coming into his second year. He might be having a sophomore slump. Who knows? I don't know what's going on. They said he's not where he needs to be. Okay, cool. So you want to put him in a so-called doghouse. You limit his snaps, but you give no grief to Mike McGlinchey, who's been with the team 4 years, who's a higher draft pick, top 10. He struggles. I don't see you pulling him and say, hey, he's not where he needs to be after 4 years.
They stand up there and say he's doing well.
Yeah. And two, and what I will say too is the other than the accountability thing and that, but it's like all the lying. When John Lynch got on his interview with Matt Maiocco, he was like, Jimmy G has elevated his play. What football games are you watching?
Right.
And then one more point, and I kind of brought this up before on Breezy's show, but I'm gonna bring a different twist to it. He's going into almost being with his team for a total of 5 years. He's in, let's say, 4 years and a quarter. Why aren't you better than what you are? And here's my point in this. And I brought up before on Breezy's show about me being in the military. When I went to boot camp, they brought in 90 guys from the ages of like 19 to 24. Don't know each other from Adam and Eve. Dysfunctional, hard-headed, thinking we're the best thing since sliced bread because we're young, we're dumb, we think we're invincible. No training. And in 3 months, they take 90 people who are not organized, and we're all in one accord in 3 months. In 3 months, they get us together. They get us with structure. We go out there, and we can do anything that they need us to do after 3 months. Because we started off with 90 guys. We graduated with 67. So we weeded out 23 guys, 23 weaklings who are not fit for full duty. So why can that happen in 3 months and we're functional, have structure, but you can't get a team together to function in 5 years?
Yeah.
So that's my opinion.
Yeah, like Pinor says that Kyle's 41 years old and he can't see his decisions have hurt us more than Jimmy just being mediocre. And that's like a thing with Kyle is he won't take blame for anything. Nothing's his fault. How many head coaches do we sit up there and listen to, and the first thing they say is it starts with me. I have to do better. I have never once heard Kyle say that.
No.
Like, how can you lead if you don't think that you're to blame for anything?
Mm-hmm.
You can't get better and you can't grow if you don't see the mistakes that you're making. And so is that why we're seeing Kyle still at the same place that he started? It's like,
yeah,
we see no growth from him. Well, he doesn't think he's doing anything wrong. Why would he change anything?
Yeah, no, you're right. And that too is like, I was listening to his press conference. I want to say it was today or the day before when they're talking about the Colts game. And he was like, well, our defense needs to take this, get turnovers, and defense needs to play better, this, and that. But like, why haven't you sat there and said, oh, my offense needs to play better? We need to score more points. We need to execute. Like, nothing is ever his fault.
Yeah.
It's like he's not a leader of men to me. Like I think you and I talked before. I think too many people are enamored too much with Kyle Shanahan, the play caller, and not Kyle Shanahan, the coach. Because as a play
Right.
caller, he's excellent. So I get why people don't want to lose him. But as a coach, he's questionable.
Yeah.
And you can't, and there's no denying that. He's questionable. He's made some questionable choices. And you're right, Miriah, no accountability. None.
Yeah. And I think that's a big thing, why I think that Jed has a lot to blame for this is because he gave Kyle so much power being a first time head coach. He let him pick a GM that wasn't going to stand up to him for anything. He didn't go out looking for a strong GM. He went out looking for a guy that, is a talker, is going to let him do whatever he wants. That's just a name, a first time GM,
Mm-hmm.
not somebody that has experience or somebody that's, gonna want to make some decisions.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
Jed's to fault for that.
Yeah, I totally agree with that too because, and I think Jed hired Kyle out of desperation because we had been so bad. The fan base was on his tail. Like, you had us Chip Kelly, Jim Tom Sula, Singletary. Like, we had some horrendous coaches. So I
Yeah.
think, for him to sit there and say, like, oh, yeah, Kyle, I know you have no head coaching experience, no GM experience, but I'm going to give you full say for the roster. I'm going to give you all the executive decisions. That is on Jed.
Yeah, now it comes out, that Kyle didn't even want to come here. Well, that's why Jed had to give him so much power. That's why Jed had to give him so much money. That's why Jed has bent over backwards to give him everything he wanted was because Kyle didn't want to be here.
Hmm.
Does he want to be here now? It's questionable.
It is. It is
He
because
sits up in his press conferences like all gray, hasn't shaved, hasn't got a haircut, just like mad at the world, like night and day. Like I get you're not gonna be happy when you're losing, but like man, like it's dreadful watching him up there this season.
yeah. And I want to give him the benefit of the doubt so bad. Like I want to sit there and say, like, maybe all this quarterback situation and just going back to the quarterback, maybe it is on Jed. Maybe Jed is just like, you know what, I'm paying Jimmy 27 million. You guys need to do something. You guys have to start him, get some kind of trade value for him and stuff like that. And that's another one of the issues. It's like, and I give Bill Belichick so much credit. It's like he didn't back down, even though Cam Newton played pretty well in preseason and stuff. And everybody was saying, oh, Cam Newton looks good. It'll be his job to start with.
Yeah.
Bill Belichick, he nipped that in the bud. I'm getting rid of you. I'm starting Mac Jones, so there's no quarterback controversy. There's no doubt who's going to be our week-to-week quarterback. And the fact that they sat there and embarrassed themselves by asking for a first-round pick, how embarrassing is that? We don't want our quarterback. We're exploring all these options. We don't want them, but I want you to give me a first.
Yeah.
That makes no sense. They should have just went in there and did like an Alex Smith type deal where we traded a second and third for Alex Smith. But the second, third round pick the third round pick we traded, we put stipulations in there like, hey, it was a third round pick, but if he plays 80% of the snaps and you guys win 10 games, it goes to a second. Do
Right.
something like that. Even if it's a fifth, you know what? Give me a fifth for Jimmy. Give me a fifth or a fourth. Give me a fourth for Jimmy. If he stays healthy, he plays this many snaps, he throws 20 touchdowns, that fourth goes to a third. Like, you got to sweeten the deal for yourself, but at the same time, sweeten the deal for others as well. You have to
Right. I
meet
think
people in
I
the
think
middle.
Philly and Indy did that with Wentz this season, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the
Like
same
if
thing
he,
with
if he
Sam.
plays a certain amount of time or whatever, then
Yeah,
and like a certain amount of percent of the season and whatever,
exactly.
then it'll turn into a second or a first or
Exactly. And that's what should have been done in the first place. And then all this quarterback, at least, if you're going to be dysfunctional, at least don't be dysfunctional at the quarterback position. At least have that in place because I'm going to be honest with you. I'd rather be a bad football team with a plan than a decent football team without one. And that's what we are. At least if you're a bad football team with a plan, you have a future to look forward to. With this team, I don't know what's going on. Like I don't even know what's going on with Jimmy. I don't even know like if they're because I remember somebody brought it up, and I forgot it was even said. Somebody even brought up a situation where, like, well, I wouldn't be surprised if Jimmy's here to the end of his contract. Did you hear that before too?
Yeah.
Like somebody said something like that, like, oh, he might be here 2 years, and then Trey Lance will play in 2023. Like that's just super reckless.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
We're gonna have Trey sitting for freaking 10 years before he ever has another freaking game rip. It's like, oh, but he's gonna get better, And back to the Belichick thing, getting rid of Cam. We started this season, and all I kept hearing from everybody is, if you have two quarterbacks, you have none. And what does this team look like right now? We don't even have an identity
at all.
Like now, more and more of the fan base every game is calling for Trey.
Yeah.
And if Jimmy doesn't start winning, that's the only thing the Jimmy fans have right now. Jimmy wins. Even though he's lost 6 out of his last 11. Jimmy wins. Even though he lost the Super Bowl. Jimmy wins. So now if he starts losing more, it's only a matter of time before the entire fan base is calling for Trey. Like, we haven't won a home game in forever,
9 out of the last 10. We lost 9 out of the last 10 home games. Yeah.
Like, don't you think that crowd's going to start chanting if we keep losing?
Yes.
Like, it's why did you guys go into this season putting the whole team into this situation? Like, we're mad at Kittle because he's siding with, Jimmy and stuff. Well, they put them in this situation.
Yep, sure did.
Like, and I'm one of the biggest ones where I was upset with Kittle, but like, I thought about it, and I'm like, it's not their fault. What are they supposed to do? They didn't ask for this. Had you got rid of Jimmy, they wouldn't have no choice but to back Trey.
For sure. Yeah.
100%. Exactly. The whole team would have been behind Trey.
Yeah, because that's all you had to have. That's all you had at quarterback. It's like, this is our starter. This is what we're going to do going forward. So yeah, no, you're right. That's why I say I can't even blame the players anymore. Like, it's all on management, because the players are going to do what they do, and they've grown to have a strong relationship with some of these players, and like you said, Jimmy and Kittle are tight. I mean, they carpool together on game days at the home game. So so it's like, yeah. So I get it. I get why there's so much controversy and why everything is doing what they do, but they need to just like we said, if they just would have nipped it in the bud in the beginning, and then after the season you can get rid of people who ain't with the program. So you start Trey and say, okay, we got rid of Jimmy, we're going to go with Trey going forward as the best for our team. And you got people in there pouting like, oh, you shouldn't have done it. So, okay, cool. Well, if you're not team first, then you got to go. I don't care who you are.
Right.
Yep.
I agree 100%.
Yep.
Yeah, so I mean, I say Jed. I say I'm holding, Jed accountable for those reasons. Shanahan, obviously, because everything he's doing this season so far has been questionable. Yep. Every time he opens his mouth is questionable. His play calling is questionable. His roster decisions are questionable. Like you said, he's not, playing Ayuk, but you're supporting all these. We have Hurd on the team that, and you're there supporting him, but Ayuk's not where we need him yet. Like you said, McGlinchey. Not one bad thing ever said about him. He's great. I wouldn't be surprised that they re-sign him.
Oh, for sure.
Because he's so great. But yet Ayuk, he's not where we need him. Yeah. Trey Sermon, he wasn't where we needed him. It's like, how are they're going to get where we need him sitting on the bench? They're going to get where we need him in the doghouse? Like, I'm not getting it. Are we trying to excuse me, are we trying to have like a whole another Pettis situation on our hands? Like, hopefully Ayuk's a lot stronger than Pettis was, and we're not having him bring a book out soon, writing a book about Shanahan too, but because I mean, it's just a matter of time. If I was Ayuk, I'd be telling my agent, find me a trade. I want to go somewhere else. If they're not going to play me, they're not going to use me, let me go somewhere else. And I was listening to somebody else, and they were saying that, Ayuk went to Shanahan requesting to return kicks. Is Shanahan mad at him because he's not putting his 100% into being a wide receiver?
That could be. Or, like I mentioned before, Is Kyle mad because Ayuk was advocating for Trey? Let me get Trainer. He gives us the best chance, and who knows, and Kyle doesn't like to be challenged. So it's like, oh, well, we're going with Jimmy. If you don't like it, then we're gonna come out and say this and that and the other, and Ayuk, he's in his second year. He's not really gonna be voicing his opinion, to the media and stuff like that,
Right.
because he's like, oh, I'm not gonna, he don't know what's gonna happen to him if he's already getting dogged out now for not even opening his mouth. Who knows what would happen if he does? And I still have hopes for IU because everybody's, I keep hearing people. And don't get me wrong, yes, CD Lamb and Justin Jefferson are good and stuff like that. But let me tell you the difference in these guys. They have a quarterback who can get them the ball. So, everybody's like, oh, well, we should have just drafted CD Lamb. He'd probably be in the same position.
Yeah.
He'd probably be in the same position because they would sit there and be like, "Oh well, he doesn't get open and this and that." Well, yeah, because look who we have. Because the questionable play calling and a quarterback who doesn't take any chances and doesn't want to give him the ball. So I don't care what receiver we got. They'd be in the same position as Ayuk. I'm not saying in the doghouse wise. I'm saying like their numbers would probably be stagnant and this is not just because of how everything has gone this season. And then two shows this. There shows the two things that came out in the recent weeks shows how much there's some dysfunction in this organization is a Tom Brady situation where they said they didn't want him at quarterback, and then the stuff that came out with DeForest Buckner,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that
Go
right
ahead and
there.
talk about it.
Yeah. So I think Buckner. I don't have the numbers in front of me. So okay, Eric Armstead's getting 17 million a year. Okay, DeForest Buckner's getting 21.5 with the Colts. Which okay,
Mhm.
yeah, I'm taking that all day.
Right.
When he said I was willing to meet in the middle, if we can give me something close to them, so that's telling me that if you would have offered him 19 million, he would have stayed. So, and I'm not gonna sit here and dog Armstead. Armstead has been pretty good this year. He's been
Yeah.
playing pretty good football, and all of it's coming from the interior. So I think D'Amico Ryan is starting to understand like Armstead on the end is not it.
Yeah.
We need to keep him inside with DJ Jones and Kinlaw because that's where he's most effective. So I'm glad we have a defensive coordinator who's starting to figure that out and know that he creates the most turmoil, with inside. So I'm
Yeah.
glad that D'Amico Ryans is seeing that. So, but at the same time, who am I taking out of Armstead and Ayuk? I'm taking. I mean, out of Ayuk, out of Armstead and Buckner, I'm taking Buckner on 2 million more a year easy
Yeah.
because not only does he stop the run, he creates pressure too, and he doesn't miss games like that. The man is always available. Like so, I just the fact that he said he wanted to stay here and they didn't want to meet him in the middle, that kind of bugs me a little bit. I mean, I get it. If somebody's offering you a top 15 pick for a player that's offering 20 million and you think like, well, maybe we can just get, somebody of his caliber, of course not right away, but eventually, I get it. But I think what makes it worse is that the player you picked at number 14 is hurt and he's not giving us any production. When he's on the field, he's good.
Yeah.
So I think so. If it was me, honestly, I would have called around and see what I could have got for Armstead. And if I would have got a second for Armstead, I'm trading him. I'm keeping Buckner, which is the 13th pick. Then you could have still stayed at 31 and traded up and got your guy at wide receiver. So that's my opinion on it. People say, well, you know, you don't pay a D tackle that much money. Look, when we had Cassius Marsh at the defensive end, and I can't remember who was on the other defensive end side who was playing with Buckner, that line in 2018, I think it was,
Yeah.
was horrendous. And he had 12 sacks when he was getting double teamed. And I can argue Armstead had his production when he had 10 sacks a year in a contract year, of course.
Yeah.
That's the only time he produced was because of Buckner and Bosa and D Ford.
Yeah. He had studs on the line getting
Yeah,
double teamed. I mean, if you're not
exactly.
getting sacks at that point, then there's a problem.
Exactly. So that's why I say, like, and it is what it is. It's whatever it's done is done. But him saying that, and then with the stuff with the Tom Brady situation, it's like, who's running this team? Like, who is like, is it John? Is it Kyle? Like, what decisions are you guys making? And I just don't get it. So
Yeah, like, and it seems like everything that they've done up until, the last seasons up until this point, I mean, we're not in win now mode, obviously. Like you want to keep thinking it's 2019 vibes and let's run it back, it seems like, but we're not winning. This is not a Super Bowl team. I don't see
at
this
all.
team going to the Super Bowl.
No.
So, up until this point, like, okay, you haven't built a team that wins now. You haven't built a team that's ready to play for the future. We have a bunch of rookies that are going to have no experience going into next season. A quarterback that's going to have gone now 2 whole seasons without playing football. But yet he's supposed to get better sitting behind a mediocre quarterback.
Yeah.
That doesn't even want to help him on the sideline, that doesn't even talk to him. It's like,
Yeah, and then what scares me is, if we do have all that capital, that money from the free agencies, because we're losing all these 1 year deals, and then with Jimmy coming off the books, whatever, how wisely are you going to spend that money? Are you going to look for bargains and bring in players who have ACL tears previously and Achilles tears? Like, how are you going to spend this money? Because if you look at even our draft, our offensive line, we traded for Trent Williams, we traded for Laken Tomlinson. Other than that, and then we brought in Alex Mack. Like, so, even though he's not playing the best, but still, you look at our line, it's either free agent acquisitions, which both centers, you can argue, Weston Richburg and Alex Mack really haven't lived to expectations. We
right.
traded for our left side of the line, which is great, but our right side of the line is horrendous, which we drafted or we picked up on free agency. So it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, I just want this brass to understand, like, look, we have all this money. We need to be smart. We can't be sitting there like, I wouldn't like to, honestly, K1 and Verrett, let them walk.
Yeah.
Don't even sit there and be like, oh, I'm going to try to bring them back. No, like, are you risking it again so they can be
Yeah.
hurt again? Like, go out there and go get you a corner, spend some money, go get you a corner who's been healthy and on the verge of a breakout season. I'll take that all day. And you wouldn't be criticized as much either if you went out and you took chances.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? And on players who aren't hurt. Like, I feel like it's Trent Baalke all over again. And then it's like you said with Jed York, you sat there and watched it with Baalke for years. Tank Carradine, drafting all these dudes coming off of ACL
Yeah.
tears or whatever the case may be. And then, like, he saw that for years. And then for him to start to seeing this all over again, he needs to step in. Like, look, I saw with Baalke, they're bringing in all these guys who have injury histories. It doesn't work. We need to change our philosophy here.
Yeah. Because I feel like for every one that does work, there's 5 that don't.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, at what point do we stop taking guys at a discount because they have a long ass injury history, and start building the team right? Like,
Yeah.
how are we all of a sudden expecting to see that out of John and Kyle now? If they
Yeah.
haven't built a team right up until this point, why are we still expecting that going on into the future for the next 5 years, they're going to do it? And like
You're
you
right.
said, the O-line that they have drafted is not doing well. Yet
No.
we're expecting them to now, bring up these 2 O-line players that they just drafted.
Mm-hmm.
So how are we expecting that they're going to do anything with them? It's
Yeah.
the same coaches.
Yeah, and a lot of these fans don't realize too. Like you said, a lot of these fans are like, "Oh, well, Jimmy gets his best chance to win." So you're sacrificing, possibly a wild card spot to lose in the first round, because we're not beating a Tampa Bay in the first round if we go to Tampa. We're probably not going to beat a Green Bay going into Green Bay or Seattle. I mean, not Seattle, or Arizona, wherever the case may be, in a playoff game. So people don't realize, if we're smart with our cap space and we're smart the way we do our development, we can really be contenders in 2023 and 2022. If you sit there and you put in Trey Lance now, let him play for 12 games. Then you say, okay, cool. We got chemistry with Debo, Ayuk, Kittle, Juszczyk, Sherfield. You have the chemistry with these receivers, Juwan Jennings. Okay, cool. You have your chemistry. Yeah, we didn't do well, but at least we know what to look forward to, because we have now our quarterback has had snaps. Now we can go into the season with our offense in sync. Get that cap space. You fill in your holes. Get you a couple good corners. Get you a couple good offensive linemen. We can really be in contention next year if we play our cards right. But
Yeah.
it's like, but do I trust them to do that? I don't. And right before we move on, what bothers me the most and what scares me is, I'm scared that Kyle's gonna ruin Trey Lance. Like, I'm scared that, like, because he's never really he doesn't have a track record of developing a quarterback.
Right.
He went to Atlanta with Matt Ryan already, like a Pro Bowl under his belt and all this other stuff. Yeah, I mean, you can say he got the QB position right with Kirk Cousins because he wanted to draft him, but Kirk Cousins really didn't get good until Kyle left. That's when he kind of broke out.
Right.
So the way that I'm looking at Trey Lance, I'm like, yeah, I have so much promise for him. I think he can be great. But will Kyle put him in a position to be a great quarterback? Because you look at Josh Allen, a Patrick Mahomes, their organization put the right pieces around them for them to be successful and let them make their mistakes. Like, can you imagine if the Bills put Josh Allen out there his first year and he sucked and they said, "Oh, you know what? We're going to put you to the bench because you're not it." That would have killed his confidence, and you're taking away his reps for him to get better. The Bills did it absolutely right. I'm going to be patient. I'm going to let this quarterback develop. I'm going to give him snaps. He's going to go through his bumps and bruises, throw some stupid passes. He's going to throw pick sixes, but I'm okay with that because I know what to look forward in the future with him getting development. And the 49ers just aren't seeing that. So,
Right. Especially that Trey is, the rawest quarterback, I think ever to be drafted, in the top 3, the top 5, who knows?
yeah.
And yet we think that he's going to get better sitting on the bench. He needs reps. He's not going to get better. He doesn't get reps sitting on behind Jimmy on the bench.
No.
So if you can see right now that, okay, this isn't, we haven't started the way that we thought. This isn't a Super Bowl team.
No.
Put the guys in and let them get their reps. Trade Jimmy. The trade deadline's 12 whatever days away.
Mm-hmm.
Get him out of
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, for sure.
And then Kittle doesn't have a choice but to support Trey, like we were saying.
Yeah.
You either get on board or we'll ship your ass out of here too.
Exactly. If he get pissed off because we shipped away your boy, then you know what? You can go too because you're not above the team. And plus, too, I mean, don't get me wrong. I love me some Kittle. I love the way he plays. He's physical. I'm all about guys like that. I hate people. I hate soft players. I can't stand
Right.
people that are soft. So the fact that he's physical, but look, he just turned 28. I think we've seen the best of Kittle. I think he did his thing, and I'm not saying he still won't be good, but it's for a box of seeds candy. But I just see like he's just one of those guys. It's like if we trade away Jimmy and he starts pouting in the locker room and having turmoil, get rid of him too, or anybody who's not on board.
Yeah.
Trey is the future, whether these players like it or not, and that's what I don't get. Like the players ain't stupid. The players know all the chatter. They know Kyle went and looked at every single quarterback on the market.
Yeah.
Called the Packers on draft day to see if they can trade for Aaron Rodgers. So the players know that Kyle and John don't want Jimmy there. So it shouldn't be a surprise to you that they're trying to, get rid of him or whatever the case may be. So if you think you're above the team and you think like, oh well, I'm not happy with Kyle putting in Trey, you can skedaddle too. You can get up
Yeah.
out of here. So
I
yeah.
completely agree. So since we're talking about how well and stuff the team's doing, let's get into our first quarter grades. We're going to break it down: offense, defense, special teams, and overall grade. You want to go offense? We'll go back and forth, do each
Okay.
one, or you want to go all through them all first?
No, we can go back and forth.
Okay, go ahead.
Offense, easy, D minus. And that's being generous.
Yeah, I gave him a D.
That's being generous. It should be an F, but I think that Packer game and the Lions game, we put up some points. We showed that our offense can do well when a game call is when skedaddle when a game plan is called correctly. So I give him a D minus. Kyle's play calling is suspect. Ayuk's usage is horrendous. That right side of the line, I don't know what the issue is. They're getting manhandled.
Yeah.
So, that right there in itself, and then just the way that, like I said, the decision making of Kyle, that honestly, like I said, the Lions and Green Bay gave him a D minus, but and then what really put them down more is that game plan they put together for Trey Lance. Putting Travis Benjamin in there, I totally get it. I get why he was in there, so he can stretch the field. He's the fastest receiver we got, but he shouldn't have got no more than like 5 snaps.
Right.
You had him in there blocking. You had him in there like what are you doing here? Like he should have just been going there, give us a go route, and then I would have let Trey hit him on a go route, and then they would have been like, okay, Trey got an arm. We can't just crowd the boss. We can't crowd the middle. That would have opened up that whole offense. But Juwan Jennings should have been in there. Trent Sherfield, who has probably the best chemistry with him what did he get? How many snaps did he get? Like 2.
Yeah, I didn't even
Like
remember
what?
seeing him out there.
Like what is that? So yeah, and then to like everybody says, well, Trey, all these Jimmy Jimmy lovers. Trey only scored 10 points. You guys clown on Jimmy because he doesn't score points. Well, Kyle Shanahan left 9 points on the board for not kicking a field goal after he picked one up. You go into a game where you don't have a kicker and you try field goals, you
Yeah.
pick up a kicker and you don't do any. So yeah, a D minus.
Yeah, and that was Trey's first start ever.
Yeah.
Like, no, we're not expecting him to go in there and put up 60 points in his first start ever as a rookie. Yeah, we're expecting more out of Jimmy. You're right. Yeah, I mean, I gave him a D as well. I can't, for everything you just said. There's nothing else to say. It's been horrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
From
Been
top to
horrible.
bottom, the offense has been horrible. Especially you're not even putting the GOAT Ayuk in there. It's horrible.
Yeah.
Defense.
Defense, I'm going to give D'Amico Ryans a B plus. I think he's played extremely well. I think for a first year defensive coordinator, he's gone in and he's made the proper adjustments. And I'm going to defend him on that Packers game. Everybody sit here and says, well, he called bad coverage, this and that. People don't understand. People don't understand. When K'Wan Williams got hurt and who was it? Josh Norman got hurt. We had 3 healthy corners. I don't care who you are. Try running 3. And it's not like Josh Norman and K'Wan got hurt fourth quarter. They got hurt in the first quarter. Tell me any team that runs out there with 3 healthy corners and runs 3 corners all game with no rest.
Yeah.
None. So you expect them to go in there and stop Devontae Adams when Aaron Rodgers, regardless of him throwing to Devontae Adams all game, they were still running 3 and 4 receiver sets, which means that you still had to have your receiver or your corners cover. 3 healthy corners. So we went in the game with 5 healthy corners. 2 got hurt. We ran with 3. What do you expect?
Yeah.
I mean, what I would have done, I probably would have put Jimmy Ward at nickel and had him run some corner because he has the experience, and then put Tart at free because he played free safety in college, and then had Hufanga play some strong safety. That's what I would have done, but I'm not D'Amico. But I think that's the only reason why. But I give him a B plus. So I think he's done an excellent job at D coordinator.
Yeah, I agree. I gave him a B. There have been, little bumps and bruises like we should expect, because he is a first time, D coordinator. But yeah, he's done great. He has the guys playing well together, and you're putting rookies out there. Our starting corner got hurt. Verrett went down. I think right there that put us in really bad shape. And he still managed to come back from that. The relationship that him and Fred have, I think it's going to be, of course it's their first time, in the headset together like that, So I think once they get that down more and their connection it's going to be great going forward. That's going to help the defense a lot. I think Fred, people want to say that Fred's, taking a step back this year, and is it because he got paid and yada yada, his PFF grade is down and whatever, but anybody that can watch football and watches, what Fred does on that field, I don't think you can say that he's playing bad. Like, that's not one of the people I would pick out that's playing bad. That's for sure. So I think he has that defense playing great. I think a lot of people doubted him going into the season, how he was going to be able to, have this defense playing and, because he doesn't have experience. And I think he's pretty much shut them up so far.
Yeah, no, you're right. And people forget too, we lost Greenlaw.
Yep.
So that's another starter. So he lost his starting corner, one of his starting linebackers, and then we've had some injury problems right there on that D line. Javon Kinlaw not playing the game, Maurice Hurst, him being hurt, and then we had, so there's been some injuries there too. So I feel like the cards that D'Amico has been dealt, I think he's doing pretty well for a first time D coordinator.
Yeah, and I agree with Pinor. The turnovers, they do need to come more. That is one of the things that's really down. And if we had a lot of turnovers, I probably would have gave him a closer to an A. But
Oh,
that's one of
easily.
the reasons I did knock him down as well.
And yeah, and two, I mean, honestly, of course, we've had some new pieces here and there. Once again, D'Amico Ryans, he's been the cards he was dealt. That secondary has never been able to get turnovers.
Right.
I think Jimmy Ward has what, maybe 2, 3 his whole career. I'm just known this is who he is. He's not he's great and not letting big plays get behind him. He doesn't get beat deep. He
Yeah.
keeps everything in front of him. So I love that about Jimmy Ward. What I love the turnovers, absolutely, but he is who he is. Him and Tart both.
Right.
I think together they have like 5 or 6 interceptions.
Yeah.
So I don't really expect that. And then you got people like the rookies who I don't really, Thomas and Lenore. I don't expect them to go in there and be lights out. And then our corners, we're literally playing with bargain bins.
Yeah.
I mean, Emmanuel Mosley, he was undrafted. Josh Norman has washed. I mean, he's still pretty serviceable, but he's old.
Yeah.
Drake Kirkpatrick was on the streets a couple weeks ago. Then you picked up that Buster Screen, which I know you cut him now, but you pick so. Look at the corners. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't expect too many turnovers with what we have. So I do agree, Pioneer. We do need to maybe learn how to get turnovers. And I just think we just don't have, and as a cornerback, I never played corner because I never had the speed and stuff like that when I was in school. But with corners, you have to have sort of a gambling mindset. You have to know, like, okay, I'm going to jump this route or whatever the case may be. And I don't think we just have the secondary that does that. Our secondary would rather keep things in front of them and be safe than be scared to allow the big play and stuff like that. And it could be the defense we run.
Right.
So
I agree. Special teams.
I'm going to give it a C because Wisnowski's holding us down. That man is doing his thing. He's looking like the best punter in football right now. He's, given the offense, the opposing offense bad field position. So him right there off the top gives us an A as far his, but I think we're still not getting those big runs. I think other than that Trenton Cannon run against Green Bay, we're not exciting on special teams at all. I never feel comfortable, even with Ayuk, even though he's explosive, even when we have our punters and kick returns back there, I never one time feel like, oh, we're gonna take it to the house.
Right.
Do you? Like, I never
No.
when they punt it or kick it to us, I'm never excited.
No.
When we had Ted Ginn, I was like edge of my seat, like, what is he gonna do?
Yeah.
But with this we never had a game. We haven't had a game breaker in a long time. Our tackling's been okay, So I give it a C plus for our special teams.
I gave it a B minus. One of the things I said going into this season is that special teams needed to step it up. They were, have been, not great prior to this season. And, Wish was one of those reasons. We drafted him so high, which again is not his fault, but you needed to do something. And I think that we have seen a lot from him this season. He's been great. Like you said, we haven't had fantastic returns, but I do feel better this year than I felt with Richie James back there, with the seasons before. And I'm hoping that once the guys that we do have back there get some more experience, and these are all guys we're not used to having back there. Ayuk hasn't returned no kicks for us, no punts for us. He hasn't done it since he was in college. So I'm hoping as the season goes that we do start seeing some more out of them. But I mean, I'm good with them overall. I give them a B minus.
Cool.
And then overall, so is it including coaching, coaches, everybody?
Everything. Yep.
What do you give them?
You want me to go first? Okay.
Yeah.
What I give the 49ers right now as a whole, I give them a D plus. Execution has not been there. We should be 4-1, not 2-3. I can almost put my paycheck on it if the way this defense played, and this is what I hate. This is what I hate. Like what Kyle said. This is what bugs me so much. He said Trey Lance played well and gave us every chance to win, but the people around him didn't do what they needed to do. Something along those lines.
Yeah.
So that tells me that if you called a good game plan for him, we should have won that Arizona game. We
Hmm.
should have beat Seattle. Green Bay is kind of like, what is what it is. Aaron Rodgers, he did his thing, whatever. But we should at least be 4-1. So the fact that we didn't execute, and the fact that Kyle's play calling is horrendous, and then that they're not making in-game adjustments. I feel like like that. Everybody keeps talking about that Kyle Juszczyk snap, direct snap. Like, why didn't you why didn't you audible when you seen everybody stack the box? I mean, as soon as they seen Kyle Juszczyk, I mean, I heard Kyle Juszczyk ran the wrong play. Okay, fine. But at the same time, when I saw that play, I'm like, audible. Like, you see
Yeah.
everybody crowded the box. So it's just one of those things. So yeah, I give the whole with coaching and everything and the way this offense has been stagnant, because you can't blame the defense on these games when the offense is not doing them any favors.
Right.
So as a whole, if it wasn't for this defense, it'd be an F in my opinion. I'm so disappointed in this team right now, because it's not it doesn't only have to do with the wins and losses. It's the development of these players. It's the coaches not holding themselves accountable.
Hmm.
So in that, so that's all together.
Yeah.
So to me, I'm gonna give you a D minus.
Yeah. I went with the C minus, and that's because the defense and special teams, held them from being any lower than that in my eyes. That, like we've talked about this whole time so far, the coaching has been questionable on the offense. You know, our head coach has been questionable as a whole. We, John Lynch, questionable. Jed York, questionable. you know, so I think I can't see how you can grade him any higher than that. And I see that a D is fair as well. I have no gripes with you giving him a D, because I was about right there with you.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah, and that's only because like you said, it's grading it as a whole. Like, I can't, if we're going off their record, obviously I'd give them probably a C minus, But I'm looking at everything as a whole, like how they're doing, like I said, the treatment of Trey Lance's development, and not just him, like your top four rookies are not getting put in position to play well.
yeah,
You sit there and you give Trey Sermon what, 2 snaps, and then our running game, Elijah Mitchell was averaging 4.8 yards a carry, and then you stop running him. So it's just, yeah, I don't get it. Like, with Trey Lance, Banks, Ambry Thomas, and Sherman, you got four of your draft picks not getting that they're getting minimal playing time, and that's not cool. I just don't understand it. And then for them, and then for I think Lynch said, "Well, we know he's good, but we know he was, what they said, we're gonna develop him, and by next year he'll be good." Like, so if you thought that, why'd you draft him in the third round? Why didn't you get somebody that was more ready to play now? And don't get me wrong, I'm a Wolverines fan. Me and Breezy both go blue, but at the same time, it's like, do I want him on this team? Yeah, I've seen him play and he looks good, but yeah, and 49er mind's right. He acts like our roster is stacked.
yeah,
It's not like we had 5 amazing corners, and then it's like, well, let me gamble on a guy who can be good in 2022. No, like you went in there with injury prone corners, with K1 and Verrett, banking on them to be healthy. Oh, this guy will be good next year. That's kind of an arrogant thinking. Like, oh, we don't need him now. We'll pick him now to use him. It doesn't make sense. So that comment is absolutely right. We're not stacked. So
right. I mean, you're telling us that Compton is better than our rookie. If our roster was stacked, Compton wouldn't be on it. That's for sure.
exactly.
So we're not playing our rookies for players that aren't good either.
Yeah.
It's not like there's a Pro Bowl player at every spot and we have rookies, sitting on the bench waiting. No, we don't. And if that was the case, we wouldn't have only won 2 games so far.
Yep.
If that was the case, our team wouldn't look like a complete disaster right now.
Mhm.
So yeah, I completely agree. And I mean, we pretty much already covered our next topic, direction of this team going forward.
Mm.
I mean, what do you think?
So this is what's funny to me. Okay, these are the winnable games I see going forward. I see. I see. Well, you know what? Yeah, okay. This is the winnable games. I think Sunday is winnable. I think when we go to Chicago, winnable because I feel like we have the exact same type of defenses. Like it's funny. I feel like we mirror each other. We have a good defense, but our offense really don't do us any favors. I feel like that's how the Bears are right now. So I feel like we can beat the Colts and the Bears. I feel like yeah, we can beat Arizona, but I don't think we're going to. I think Arizona's going to sweep us. So I think we can win Colts, Bears, Texans, and Jacksonville. That's four games I see on our schedule that are okay. We can probably win for sure. Bengals, I don't think so. Vikings, I think we're losing that game. So at best, if Jimmy stays healthy the whole rest of the season and starts at quarterback, I see 7-10 or 8-9. But the funny thing is, with Trey, I see the same exact record. So why not
Yeah,
start him?
exactly.
It's not like it's 8-9 with Jimmy or 10-7 or whatever with Jimmy, and then all of a sudden it's 5-12 with whatever the case may be with Trey. Like I feel like the win loss would be the exact same no matter who's a quarterback right now, because yes, Jimmy's more groomed, he's more seasoned, whatever the case may be. Trey's gonna have his bumps and bruises, but Trey has the talent to get us over the hump on some games with his legs. So I feel like 8-9. I feel like we're 8-9 or 10. Or something. Let me put it this way: 8-9 is the floor. 10-7 is the ceiling with Jimmy at starting quarterback, which I think that's what's going to happen going forward.
You're a lot more confident than I am. I mean, I can't say that we're going to win these next two games or that I'm even confident we win this next game when you have not shown me that you're capable of winning.
Yeah,
So until you show me otherwise, I'm not feeling confident going in that we're winning. I'm not.
that's fair.
I'm thinking I would hope that we could beat the Texans. Um, Jacksonville, I'm not going to say that we can beat them.
Because
I mean, that,
it's an East Coast game, and
yeah,
I think it's a 10 a.m. game too, so it'll be tough. And who knows what the development will be with Trevor Lawrence by then?
right.
Yeah,
Chicago, that's going to be already a few games under Justin's belt.
yeah.
I'm not confident that we're going to beat them.
Hmm.
So like you're saying, if we can have the same record starting Jimmy and starting Trey, then why not start Trey? Because if not, we're going to be starting all over again next season. Now
Yeah.
it's going to be 2 years, all this playing time that, Trey hasn't played, yet we're going to throw him out there and expect him to do great all of a sudden next season,
Hmm.
week one.
You're right.
Or Kyle's going to go into the season then next season thinking, oh, no, we're not winning this season, so it's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, either you're planning on not doing crap next season or you should be, getting him ready because Jimmy, I can't see that they're going to keep him next season. I mean, that's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah. And the most shameful thing about it is, if you give the NFL, and it's not just about our team, you're showing the NFL what your team's going to look like in the future. So, with you starting Jimmy all year, and they know he's gone, what good free agents who are going to want to come here because they think you can compete for a Super Bowl?
Right.
So we possibly, can have all this money because you look at you got Verrett, K1, Tart, um, Jimmy, Mostert, all these guys coming off their contracts. Plus, I feel like D Ford will be gone, so you're looking at over $50 million or so. I'm just throwing a number out there. I'm sure it's more, but I'm just throwing a number out in cap space. If I'm like a free agent corner who's looking like, oh, a team that can compete, I'm not coming here. I'm
Right.
gonna be like, well, I don't know, because they have a pretty much a rookie now, a quarterback. I don't know what he's gonna do. Give these other. I mean, like I said, who cares about the other teams? But what I'm saying is, internally, you're helping your team out first by developing the kid, seeing what you can do. You get that chemistry going with the receivers. Everybody's going to be on board. Like, man, I'm excited for 2022 because we see what Trey can do. He's only going to get better with OTAs, training camp, 12 games under his belt, blah, blah, blah. Then if we show promise with Trey Lance, you look at, and plus two, in California, everything's so expensive, you have to overpay these players.
Right.
So you're really going to have to overpay if you're not competitive. So at least if you're competitive, you look at this as a free agent destination and be like, man, they got Trey Lance, they got Ayuk, they got Debo, they got Kittle, whatever the case may be. If I'm a right tackle, I can come in this team and compete because now they still have Trent Williams, Lake and Tomlinson, whatever the case may be. Then you look at the corners, man, they got Boza, Fred Warner. All they need is me. I can come and be a good secondary piece, but teams aren't going to look at it that way. So we're going to have all this money and no good players to spend it on because nobody's going to want to come here. So it's a business. You got to think outside the box.
Right.
So, and that's what the issue is. So like we said, if your record is pretty much going to be the same, it's not, like I said, it's not like we're like, oh man, if we keep Jimmy in, we're going to be 14-3 and blah, blah, blah. Like you said, at most, in my opinion, 10 wins at the most. And I wouldn't be surprised if we're 7-10, to be honest. So if you can get the same type of production, so it's like a win-win situation with Trey. You get the same amount of production as Jimmy, if not better, and you get to develop him. Then you get to add the chemistry of the offense, and then it teaches your offense because as you can tell with the offensive line when they were playing against Arizona, they struggled on the right side. Even Trent Williams got caught for a couple of holds because they weren't used to Trey being back there. It was a different quarterback, so they had to hold a little bit longer because he got out the pocket and stuff like that. So why not put that chemistry on the team now going forward? So by 2022, we're in a situation where maybe not a Super Bowl, but maybe we're looking like a 3rd or 4th seed. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, I completely agree, 100%. Score predictions.
So in saying that, it's going to be raining, I heard. Which I don't even know if it's going to because California is so unpredictable.
Yeah.
It might be sunny on Sunday. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
If it rains, I feel like, which it probably will be, it's 95%. So if it rains, I feel like it's going to be probably more low scoring. I don't see much throwing involved. Because if it's pouring down rain, I feel like whoever can run the football and whoever can control the line of scrimmage. It's going to be I think it's going to have to be a physical game. So I will say, if it rains, I'm going to go 20-17 Niners.
Yeah, I'm going 21-27 Colts. And like you said, if it is raining, it is going to be a running game. Their running back is playing out of his mind right now. And ours are doing what? Getting 10 carries? I mean, I don't know. But
well, they'll get more this week because Jimmy's playing. So
true.
They'll run them rugged this year, but hopefully they're smart enough and run to the left side instead of the right side like they did last week, which didn't make any sense. Because if Jonathan Taylor gets going, it's over with. It's curtains.
Yeah.
Show's over.
Yeah.
So it just depends on who can run the football effectively. And Javon Kinlaw ain't playing. So if he ain't playing, from what I hear, that's a disaster because he's great at stopping the run.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like we do have a chance. I don't know. I just don't. This is our second Sunday night football game. I feel like we will win this one. I just have a feeling. I think we'll win this game. It just depends on the offense and how it gets going. I hope it doesn't rain so we can, have one just so the fans can be comfortable and can enjoy a game without being rained on. But I hope it doesn't rain so it gives us more balance so we can see like, okay, are we going to be able to throw the ball? Because if it rains, it's going to be a cop out for Kyle. It's going to be, I had to run the ball because we couldn't throw. And, I want to see our offense be able to go out there and execute. And that's the word going forward, execution, because we have none right now.
Right. Yeah. And that's why, like I said, I can't, from what I've seen from them so far, I can't go into this game thinking they're going to win, and it's like so many things like, okay, they're playing at home. Well, we haven't been playing well at home. that, they're coming out of a bye. They should be ready. Kyle should have his game plan set. Jimmy's back. Jimmy always wins. But I
Yeah.
still don't feel confident in any of that.
No, I hear you too, and I kind of struggled on a score. I'm looking at. I just don't see us. We're not. I mean, we are a struggling team, but I don't think we're bad enough to win four straight. But who knows? But I'm looking at it, and yeah, John V. He's right. Only team without
Yep.
an identity. What scares me about this game is the Colts have been playing good football. So, you look at them, they had in Baltimore, they almost beat Baltimore. They had them on the ropes. And then Lamar Jackson just got in the groove and took the game over. But
Yep.
they were beating Baltimore in Baltimore, who's playing great football right now. Then I understand it's the Texans. They went in there and they just beat them down. Regardless, it was still a division game. And division games, no matter how good or bad you are, I mean, look at us in the Cardinals. We had no identity. They were the top scoring offense, but yet we kept the game close.
Right.
Then the Colts went in there against the Texans and blew them out. So I don't know. Like I said, they've been playing great football, but I like our chances just because we're coming out of a bye. We're getting some more pieces back, but it's going to change my mind if Trent Williams doesn't play.
Yeah.
That could get ugly. And then too, like I said, if Javon Kinlaw, it looking like he's out too. I don't know. It's going to be tough. And then if it comes into a throwing match, T.Y. Hilton has came back, and he's a speedster, and Michael Pittman, he's a pretty good receiver.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah. That's why I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I can't even say that I hope we win, honestly, and tell you that I'm telling you the truth. Because I mean, yeah, I'm a faithful. I want my team to do well, but at the same time, I just don't feel like we're setting up the team for the future. We're not winning this year, like I've said a trillion times, and we're not setting it up for the future. And I feel like the only hope that we have to get Trey in there and start playing these guys, and I do feel like once Trey, if Trey ever gets in there, that we will see, Trey Sermon more, that we will see, hopefully by then, Aaron Banks more, like those players are supposed to be playing together, so once we can get one in there playing consistently, maybe we can get the other ones in there playing consistently.
Yeah. Don't worry. If there's an injury to Brunskill, Tom Compton will be in there. Don't forget.
Yeah, I'm so confident.
So ridiculous.
Before we end it, we touched on it a little bit earlier, but Buckner's coming home, and I listened to both his pressers, the one from the Colts and the one that he did for the 49ers media. And in both of them, he seemed like he's happy to be where he's at. But at the same time, you can tell that he was really upset by the 49ers trading him, and that it is still something that bothers him. And I think that that's going to be a lot of emotion for him coming home, going into this game. Do we see something from Buckner this game, do you think? Do you think he's going to be all over Jimmy's ass?
I wouldn't be surprised if he got 2 sacks. Because who's going to block him on that line? Alex Mack has been struggling. Obviously, we talked about the right side. So if I'm the coach, I'm lining him up on the right side all the time. You know what? I want you to line up right between Alex Mack and Daniel Brunskill. That's where I want you to line up at and let him eat. I mean, if I'm the coach, that's what I'm doing. So, but yeah, I think he gets a sack, but I'm going to say he gets 2 of them because he's going to be fired up. He's going to be pumped up, and it's a revenge game.
Yep.
Let me show you what you gave up. That's what he's gonna say. Let me show you what you gave up because you weren't. What did he say? Weren't willing to meet me in the middle. That's what he said.
Yeah. Yeah, and he had said that like he doesn't take it as personal anymore, and he now was thinking about it like, oh, I'm going to show the 49ers why they didn't keep me, but now it's more I'm going to show the Colts why they did take me. Which like you got to give it to him, and it's not like he's going to sit up there and say different otherwise, but I think we do see a big game from him, and I think it is personal. And for anybody that's ever played sports or that think at that level. And yeah, there's a business in football and whatever, but the team that drafted you, and for like he said, he gave this organization his heart and soul, did everything right on and off the field, and they still traded him. So it's like, what are you supposed to do? If you don't do if you don't get rewarded by doing everything right, what are you supposed to do? Everything wrong? Like, are you supposed to be a subpar player and then hope that the team that drafted you wants to keep you then? It's
Yeah.
like, so, yeah, I think it's personal. I wouldn't be surprised, as well, if he got 2 sacks.
Yeah,
I could see that happening.
for
Especially
sure.
he knows Jimmy, you
Especially
know.
if it's in the rain, he'll get 2 sacks for sure, I think. So yeah, no, I don't blame you. And I see people coming at him on making comments on Twitter. Oh, because they were saying like they paid Eric Armstead the 17 million. He was like, well, I wanted to go to the place because I needed to feed my family because he was in the middle of having a baby, like his baby
Yeah,
was on the way, and he was like, I needed to go to the best place to feed my family. And people were like, oh, because 17 million can't feed your family. Like, shut up. Like, I'm sorry, living in California on 17 million or living in Indianapolis on 21 million. It's a no-brainer here. But the
yeah,
fact that he said to meet him in the middle, like I said, if they would have offered him probably a 19.5, he might have stayed.
yeah,
So, from the sound of it, from what he said. So yeah, like we touched up on earlier, disappointing, of course. But I think what makes it worse is, like we mentioned earlier, it's like, yeah, he got traded for a 13th overall pick, but I think it looks worse because of who we drafted with that pick.
yeah.
If we drafted like a Tristan Wirfs and he was out there dominating, it probably we wouldn't even be talking about this. But
Right,
the fact that you drafted a D tackle with knee tendonitis who can't go three who can't go 3 hours on an airplane without his knee swelling up. I mean, like I said, I feel bad for the kid because it's not his fault. It's not his fault. And I feel like, I feel like he's getting punished for being a top 15 pick when it wasn't his fault. The organization with those knee issues.
right.
So yeah,
Yeah. One more thing before we wrap this up. I know that I wanted to, do like a faithful fan feature thing every episode. I didn't think that it would be as hard finding people to have on there. So I do have a few things in the works. There's, we are going to be doing some things with that a little bit differently. So that is still going to be something that we do going forward. We do have, speaking of our QB1, the Jimmy G bobblehead. We'll be giving that away next Thursday on our live show. And then we had another giveaway gift come in the mail today. So we'll probably do this the week after, maybe, or the week after that. I don't know if we can see it somewhere. A Bosa Funko Pop. Maybe back here. So that'll be the next giveaway item that we'll have after we get rid of Jimmy G. And yeah, with that being said, I want to thank everybody that joined us tonight. I appreciate you guys, coming here, spending your time listening to us, keeping the comment section going. You guys have been great. TL, I appreciate you as always for giving me your time
for
and doing
sure.
this with me. I
Absolutely.
will see you next Thursday,
Yep. I better get a text from you on Saturday.
probably before then.
Yeah.
Let's go
No.
Niners.
No, I don't think you understand what I'm talking about. What Saturday?
Oh, I know. I
Oh,
do
okay.
remember. Yeah.
Okay, good.
So before we log off, let me throw that out there. Taryn's birthday is coming up. It'll be already belated before our next show.
Mhm.
So happy birthday to you.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
I know I've already told you like 100 times in the
Yeah.
last 3 months, but
Yep. Yep.
So make sure you guys all reach out to him, tell him happy birthday on Saturday, and you guys have a great night. We'll see you next Thursday.
All right, faithful. Take care. Have a good night.